Yeah,
Yes, Kanchan, we are on.
Hi, this is Kanchan Kanojia, Global Research Head and Program Head from ARDEAF Foundation, 11 Days for Earth's Healing. I welcome you all eminent speakers for an interactive session and knowledgeable discourse on Eartherian rights and climate crisis. Eartherian rights, what, why, and how? Eartherian rights refers to human earth community. It can act as the provision for recognizing non-human, the entire higher power, heaven or on earth, who can create, provide, nourish, and even destroy at the same time. We are at a critical phase where we need to address the broader perspective of the interrelationship between economic progress, environmental management, and the people factor as well. And in order to achieve the goal of sustainable future, we need to recognize the inherent rights of the natural world. Recognizing that nature has a legal right and accepting it in our legal system just not needs an introduction to a new law, but it needs to be embedded in the existing environmental laws. True, it's an incipient field, but I believe every step taken in this direction will create a base for new rulings and legislations. Off to Zunaid Menon, the CEO and Director, ARDEA Foundation. Welcome, Zunaid. Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Uh, can you hear me now? Is it better?
Yes.
Okay, hi guys. Hi Arderians. Instead of guy, I always call hi Arderian. This is my new line when I introduce or maybe greet to anybody. So we all are Arderian who are sitting here. I have not been able to give a detailed introduction in the past because twice or thrice in all our sessions, I don't know, my side was always had some problem. So I'll just give you a very brief note, then I will leave as a part of discussion. We'll get to know a lot of things what we have in our mind. ARDEA Foundation started in 2013 with the intent of developing agriculture and environment initially in India. But and we have started a TV channel who are we are working 24/7 with the farmers, for the knowledge bank. So we've created a huge knowledge bank with that. Apart from that, from the time we got the first lockdown in 2020, we have set up a new movement, which is a global movement called 11 Days for Earth's Healing, where we are expecting people to fight back together with the climate change crisis which we are facing or which we are going to face in future. So we have to preempt a lot of things and we start working on it. We will have a detailed discussion as a part of our when our core group we will start talking about it. Today we are talking about very specific topic which is called Eartherian rights. What we meant by Eartherian as an idea or concept, anything and everything which lives, who breathes on this planet, who's living on this planet, has its right and has its reason to exist. That's reason they have the right to exist. Unless we start acknowledging them, respect their existence in our ecosystem, we will not be able to develop this entire ecology and will not be able to fight back with the climate. That's our key agenda. I will give it back to Kanchan to introduce our guest, and we will have a conversation on this topic, and we'll take from there. Kanchan, over to you, and here you go live again.
Yeah. Welcome, Sudarshana Ramraj, sir. He is Global President Climate Action, ARDF. He was a Chief Advisor, Strategy and Sustainable Development, KVIC, MSME. He has a 36 years of postdoctoral professional experience in large-scale environmental management, disaster mitigation, climate change adaptation, satellite application, United Nations multi-country program management, state of environment reporting, and he is currently interested in climate change, sustainable development, and social transformation. Off to Sudarshana, sir. Sir, kindly share your perspective on Eartherian rights.
Hello, hi Kanchan. Thank you very much for this. And, it's wonderful to be back on screen. It's been quite some time. I have been wanting to talk to you all guys. I'm not sure how you
So
all are
because
there.
you're sitting in outdoor, you'll have to be little louder than your normal tone, sir.
Okay,
Because you're in
okay,
outdoor, little louder than your normal tone, please.
yeah. No, I just thank everybody for this opportunity to be online and to be talking to you, especially on Indian rights. Because actually, right from the day I heard this term, I've been quite excited about the word Eartherian, and I've just looked around also whether somebody has used this earlier. Of course, I see that some people have used it in the spiritual context and then in the religious context, not definitely in the context in which we are using at the moment. And broadly summarizing what I understand the Eartherian is what has been born on this planet. It refers to all kinds of biodiversity components and then elements, right from the microorganisms to the macroorganisms throughout the history of this planet. And also it refers to all those biodiversity elements and etc., which might come up in on this planet to live on even after we go away. And it also includes, of course, humans. Humans are just one small part of this entire Arderian spectrum. That's what I understand. And so, also in this wave of biodiversity, because there is biodiversity also keeps changing. Keeps changing the species. Some are extinct, some are born new, etc. So this is some kind of an all-pervasive world, which refers to all that is extinct, all that is living, and all that might come up in future. And so all those organisms which have got some kind of a tryst with the planet, with the destiny of the planet. That's what I understand as Eartherians. And second part is the right. Okay. Yes, definitely, because if you look at the organic evolution, which may not have prioritized some life over the other, perhaps all have got the equal rights and all are to be treated the same. But again, there is a human perspective. This is the problem. The problem is that all this debate and all this kind of recognition, identity, etc., comes through the human perspective, which cannot be denied at all. And so humans do have a certain duty towards holding up the Arderian rights rather than the Arderians claiming the right for themselves. So that is the point of view. And that is the point of view that has been debated for a very long time, whether humans are on top of the biodiversity stock or whether we are also a part of it equally rightful as the others. And now, so having said that, I personally feel that yes, we have to treat everybody as equal, including the humans. But it might not be possible. It might not be practical, and so it may be necessary to assume the humans to be some kind of curators or some kind of what is it? Caretakers. Of the biodiversity on the planet because humans have been the major influence also in disturbing it. So even Arderian rights are some kind of rights which we have to write through a constitution, a biodiversity constitution in the world. Okay. So that I will just take another 2 minutes and then pass it on to you. I'll just give you my initial perspective that if we have to consider that all the Arderians do have the same rights as humans, now that requires a little different kind of understanding because I go back to the United Nations Charter of Human Rights, which was written in 1948, which has got about 30 articles in it. And then looking through that, whether we can replicate all those rights to the Eartherians. Now, that is the first primary question when we call it Eartherian rights. So in this question, if you look through those 30 articles, humans ought to be treated equally. Genders cannot be discriminated. Humans cannot be killed, even by the governments. The law to kill somebody is not given sanction in the Charter of Human Rights, but some countries do operate through that. Some countries do honor that, and so that is also a major thing. And then humans do have a right to migrate. Humans do have a right to occupy any ecosystem environment in the world, provided, of course, they go through certain laws of immigration, etc. Now, can we replicate all these things to the Eartherians? So, if you look at it, you cannot murder Eartherians. Then, yes, there's a problem area. We have to define the human rights, Eartherian rights, slightly different from the human rights. So, we do have something called as the food security, and for food security, humans consuming other Eartherians is a given, is not questioned. So we have to form an opinion there. I'm talking of all these things because we are in the initial period of Ardarians. And so we have to know whether we can consume the other Ardarians. If we can, what are the governing rules and regulations for that? How do we define the food security and how we allow that? Coming to the migration, for example, the humans can migrate anywhere to any ecosystems in the world, whereas the aliens cannot, because we do have regulations, international conventions, which ban the invasive species to be brought into another country. A species cannot get into New Zealand or Australia, which are completely isolated areas. And so, do we allow the Eartherians a movement? Yes, we have to form an opinion here. We have to form an opinion which is slightly different from the human right of movement. So we have to look into, there are at least about 5 to 6 multilateral environmental agreements which are surrounding the biodiversity. Convention is the biggest convention available today in the world, which closely relate to the concept of Eartherians. Like we have to have systems which are conducive for biodiversity, which are same for conducive for Eartherians as well, for example. And we have to have climate and emission standards, etc., which are conducive for humans, and they have to be. So these are all part of the biodiversity convention. There is CITES, there are other conventions, about 5 to 6 of them, which are related to biodiversity, which all put together do not confer on the Eartherians the kind of rights the humans enjoy. So we need a path. We need to go through all these different conventions and then find out what is lacking. And we also have to go through the human rights and see what can be replicated to the Eartherians, what cannot be done. And then we have to build a Eartherian rights assembly and Eartherian rights documentation, Eartherian rights convention perhaps, and try to stick to that. So in summary, all I have to say is that the Eartherian rights is an extremely important thing, but it is not exactly parallel in terms of its scope and definition to the human rights, although it appears to be that. And so there is a huge problem of how not to be human centric in understanding the Eartherian rights, and how to be very, very faithful and also um, um, very honest to the principles of organic evolution without jeopardizing the Eartherian rights, and then governing the human rights vis-a-vis the Eartherian rights. Thank you. I think I just made a few points initially, and then we can take it off from there.
Sudarshana sir, I have a question for you.
Yeah,
Sudarshana
yeah, I
sir?
can hear you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Yeah. Can recognizing the rights of Earth address the regulatory gaps which are at present there in the environmental laws?
Yeah,
Do you think so?
yeah. No, we
So,
need to do that. Are you still?
yes, sir, am I clear? Am I clear with my question?
You
Am I
asked.
clear with my
You asked whether we should find the gaps in the environmental agreements and then fill those,
Yeah,
right?
yes, sir. So can
Yeah,
Eartharian rights help in addressing those gaps in the environmental laws?
yeah. That is the biggest challenge because the environmental agreements, especially concerning the biodiversity, have come into play in the last 30, 40 years. And there have been a lot of cumulative aggregation of these conventions. After the Biodiversity Convention, there is a convention for trading of the species, there is a convention for migration of the species. Wherever the gaps were there in the Biodiversity Convention or in the other agreements, a new convention, new law has come into picture. And recently, of course, everybody has been talking about the Aichi targets. Aichi targets are 20. That is trying to make targets, which will make this world a very livable place for biodiversity, and then arresting the biodiversity loss, etc. So we definitely need to look into all these different conventions in a very, very minute, microscopic manner, and then find out what are the gaps still available. And apparently, in fact, the world has always been looking into the gaps. Is there a gap that can be filled? And there will surely be, because amendments keep coming every year, and so we know that there could be some gaps at all, after all. But it's an extremely challenging task, okay, to find out the thing, because if you look at the conventions, almost everything appears to have been covered there, but there will definitely be gaps, and so that has to be our first task, as to find out what is not really happening through this, and what the futuristic perspective we have lost through these agreements, which we have to fill in. This is one thing. And then second biggest challenge to my mind personally is to define the rights of Eartherians. Because I call upon all of you to look into the Charter of United Nations Human Rights Convention, charter which was written in 1948. Those 30 articles, very beautifully written, and then it makes our position very strong on the planet. But if you look at it, you cannot replicate all those into agrarian rights at all, because a lot of human perspective, especially the food security, thing, and also the invasive species angle, these things will have to be heavily, heavily compromised if we give those rights to the Armenians, which the humans enjoy on Earth. And so there is a big challenge for the intellectuals to see that we hold them also in the same level as we are. We find gaps in these international conventions, and we build a model law, because no rights, no protection in this world, or no environmental management is possible without the legal instruments. Impossible to do that. So law is in the center of all these things, and then we have to find gaps and build the legal instruments, which will help. There is a huge scope. There is a huge challenge. It's not easy, but it is an extremely exciting thing to do. And if we don't do it, perhaps nobody else will do. So we must be doing that. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sudarshana sir. We can move to Dr. Rizwan Ahmad. Dr. Rizwan Ahmad, he is a doctorate in geoscience and has vast research and teaching experience in India as well as abroad. He has worked with IIRS and Survey of India, ISRO. Dr. Ahmed is specialized in remote sensing and GIS application and applied geology. He has a certified trained in NASA's and applied remote sensing in applied remote sensing. He has also worked as knowledge partners in UN SDGs Goal 2030. Welcome, Dr. Rizwan. We would like to hear your perspective on Armenian rights.
Am I audible to you?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Hi,
Rizwan.
Kanchan. Thank you. Thank you for short description about me. And first of all, I would like to thanks to this idea for initiating this 11-day healing program, or a kind of good ecological, you can say, the initiative, or a kind of restoration of the planet plan, because it is the need of time right now. And as the today's means topic is related to the Arthurian rights, being an earth scientist or as a science person, I would like to recommend it in a very means detailed manner, because you see, this is the goal. As per as my perspective, this is the goal of each and every human being, and human right, human being people, human being, to restore our ecosystem. And it should have to start from our own society. It should have to start from our own campuses, our own localities. Being Arderian, we need to see small things, like we do have direct human interference with the ecological aspects, all ecological aspects. You can see it has a direct interaction. Either we want to see in terms of means vegetation resources, or whatever the resources we do have, we are interacting day by day. each and every species, either in terms of flora and fauna, it is directly related to our, you can say, the devastation as well as the development. So if we are not going to means see their their importance, and if we are not going able to identify their importance, then how we can restore it? So first of all, I would like to give stress on the that we need to signify its means expand the significance of all these means Arthurian elements. You can say, for me it is a matter, it is a, for me it is energy, it is a, for me it is a, an air. Why? Because these are the resources where they live. So we need to see in terms of each and every flora and fauna, they do have some significance in our life. So first of all, we should have to means either you have to become make the peoples aware about all this, and then we have to continue we have to go in continuation for restoration of each and every element. In If you are going to see in terms of interaction of all these, or integration of all these fauna and earth materials and earth matters, it has a completely integrated with the biosphere, as well as Dr. Sudarshana said, that it has with the direct interaction with the biodiversity, invasive species. So we need to identify those Arthurian materials or resources, and then we need to say that this is the importance of these species, and these are the endangered, and these are the in excessive, or if we are going for such kind of development. Suppose for an instance, you can see that if a frog is not important for a earth scientist, it is very very important for the zoologist or biologist, is it? So we need to see the importance of all these Arthurian materials, Arthurian beings, you can say. Because if we will expand, or if we will suppose to do some work on the Arthurian expansion of, or taking it means making aware the people about these things, then definitely it will be a responsibility or a kind of liability to each and every citizens or human beings to take it very seriously, and it should have to come under the some restricted or limited rights. It should have to be in terms of governance. Then only it may means it should have to start from the academic level. Then only the people will get aware, because the students are coming into the academic institution. They must aware such kind of curriculum included. What is the Arthurian material, Arthurian things? What are the parameters of Arthurians? What are the natural parameters? What are the, how it is impacting on the sustainable development goals? So that's after that, then the people will realize, and this movement, I'm surely will go in a very lengthy manner, or very means you can say the effective manner. Kanchan, please.
Yeah. Rizwan, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What do you think is the role of environmental governance? Do you think it's just the environmental laws, but there's a role for the bureaucracies, the judiciary, the political arms, and the social movements? All these things also play a major role, and it's
Exactly.
just not like we are starting talking about environmental governments nowadays. So, what do you think is the role of it?
It is a good one, that because environmental laws are there. There are a number of environmental laws we do have, but implementation is also a big challenge for us. In it, we should have environment. We have to amend, or as I just want to say that if environmental law should have to be means either by the local governance or by the central governance, should have to be taken into the consideration, then we need to implement at from the very basic level, from the university level, from the school level, then the people will realize, and then it will be implemented properly. Otherwise, if we will keep it in a kind of documentation in offices, then nobody will about to learn. And though the students of the law, environmental law students, they used to study it, but they are not able to use it at the societal level. I just want to say that it should have to be a kind of, like, if someone is interested in sustainability, so he should have to earn as one credit of environmental law. Then he can implement it at the societal level, or he can identify the people. He can make the people aware about all this. I hope, I am sure that it will be work.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Rizwan. Off to
Yes.
Zunaid.
Thank you,
Coincidentally, we
Kanchan.
have lost Sudarshana sir from the stream, because I wanted to have a joint call of we all talking about it in jointly with a perspective, but unfortunately he's not there. So we three are there right now to talk about it. Rizwan sir, because I think you are also hearing this for the first time about the whole 11 days thing. I don't know
Exactly.
how much you have read about it. By any chance, did you get chance to read about it, or you know? You
Yeah,
haven't.
I read it, but very in a frequent not frequently, but I read it very in a very, you can say, the gist manner.
So I'll give you a very brief concept where how we thought about it, and see the reason I'm repeating must be for a lot of people, because a lot of people must be watching it for the first time. They won't
Yeah.
even know the background. So I will take you through very short brief on that. During the lockdown, the first lockdown, March 2020, we all saw the huge difference in our environment. Suddenly, the air was clean. You can see a lot of birds coming in. The water was clean. Everything we started. It became an scenic beauty.
Yeah,
Even the
yeah.
cities which were like fully polluted cities, those cities suddenly could became the breathable, especially Delhi for that matter. In India, because Delhi becomes the center point for the pollution when we talk about pollution all the time. And
Exactly.
coincidentally, I was there that point of a time. So
Mm.
suddenly I saw the change happening in the city, and I said, "Man, how we can retain this? We okay, fine. Today, thanks to lockdown, or unfortunately because of lockdown, we are in
Mm.
that situation that we are actually we have closed everything. The all sea transportation, your air traffic, and everything is closed. Factories are closed. The construction is not happening. So suddenly we're seeing the difference. But can we retain this? Which is definitely impossible task. But
Mm.
if we all do mandatory or maybe we did we decide that fine, we need to fight back with the climate change, and this is the only way to for move forward. Can we do it 11 days of lockdown every year? And that
Yeah, I
lockdown doesn't mean that you have
yeah.
to lock down inside your home the way we were locked during the COVID time. We can
Yeah.
go out, we can walk, we can go bicycle, we can play, we can party, we can maybe travel by a battery car, but we will not create anything which is creating a carbon for the environment. How that will help in a very small thing again, where we started from the ecology needs to be balanced, and that other thing needs some kind of a rest from all of this. What we have done, like we are constantly digging, we constantly removing things from the earth. The resources which we already had, we've just used in 550 years, I guess. What we used in previous 300 400 years, we have used the equivalent amount of the resources in just last 50 years. So the way we
I
are progressing, the progress is also bringing a lot of problem to us. And
yeah.
now it's our time for stopping this before it becomes irreparable. So that was the basic germ of idea where we started from. And we started writing to every possible president, prime minister across the world that we must join hand and we should do this as our new lifestyle. Since 11 days of holiday would be our new lifestyle, and convert into a festival instead of creating it as a sad time for a lot. No,
Mhm.
it's a green festival. It's a festival without religion. It's a festival
Exactly.
without any boundary of any country. We all Eartherians are celebrating it together, not only for humans. In fact, for all the animals, birds, to the insects, everybody will have some kind of a rest for themselves. So that was the larger idea where we
Big.
came out from.
Mhm.
And now slowly things are moving ahead, and we want to talk to people. That's why we have started doing this regular conversation where people like you come on board, who gives us suggestions, who also give more new dimension to our ideas and how we can take things forward. So in the crux of the whole thing was that we have to actually secure and talk about now the everything which lives on earth or which breathes on earth. That's where the Eartherian right became the very important factor of this crux of this 11 days. What we're doing by doing this 11 days, we are actually trying to restore the ecology. And to the restore the ecology, we have to acknowledge and respect everything which we have right now with us.
Exactly.
And that will only we'll start understanding what is the role in my life. We don't even know. I see 20 plants which is there outside of my home, or maybe 50 other trees, but I don't even know the name of those trees, or no name of those plants, or maybe name of those animal who must be passing in my area. I don't even know the name of the bird who I see every day on my window, but I don't even know the name of the bird. By chance, even if I know the name, I don't even know her or his role in my life. How they are helping me by being there. So now it's time for us to
True.
start acknowledging them and start accepting them as a part of life and start living together. That's the larger thought which every human can do. It's not that government has to come and do this. This is you, me, everybody can do it as part of your duty as a concerned citizen of this planet. So this is where I was coming from. I will
Uh,
over to you or Kanchan if you
yeah.
want to add your thoughts on this, please.
Let me tell you, Zunaid, very nicely you explain all the things, and it is very clear and loud and clear. Here I feel myself that there are two aspects. One is the development aspect, and then another is the restoration aspect. So development should have to be on its toes always, as you all are very well aware, because of the population density is increasing. But this 11 days, which you are saying, which we have seen from the COVID-19, because of the lockdown we have seen. So if the COVID lockdown has already worked and we have seen, so why not these 11 days restoration process should have to be? So we need to make or we need to recommend all these kind of activity to be prepare people that there is a green 11 days we have to enjoy in this, and we have to close each and every day for a kind of lockdown. So we need to, I think surely it will work, because if we will it comes under the a kind of means restricted, just like we have followed lockdown whatever the government said. So it is a matter of governance. If it comes in a kind of recommended law, then definitely governance should have to come and look into that surely, because of only these 11 days. Maybe I am not sure by at the I mean to say at the rate of how much restoration may occur, but maybe 10%, maybe 8%. So by this way, at least we can increase the age of our and we can give the coming generation to maximum resources
At least a
instead of,
better life, a better
yeah,
environment for them.
exactly,
So
better environment for them.
that's the
So
basic idea, that what we're leaving behind for our next generation. Because see, we
exactly.
all are in a certain age group where by the time we'll actually see the impact, we not will live here in this world to see
Yeah,
that
exactly.
impact. But we have to set up a timeline for others to start following it slow, and eventually by the time maybe of 20 years, 15 years, 30 years, whatever time it takes to restore. But the
Yeah.
process has to start from somewhere. So right now,
Yeah.
this is the beginning of process. Yeah, Kanchan, please say something. You're saying
Please.
something.
Yeah, what I personally think is that we need a strategic model, because we need to integrate at this point of time. There are corporate houses, there are people dependent on agriculture, there are people who are unskilled, then there are people who are semi-skilled. So how do we stop for those 11 days? So a proper modeling or a working plan of action is required in all the houses, whether we are thinking of industries, fisheries, or we are planning to stop the railways, or any other thing. I think a strategic development has to be made, and this can be possible only with the interference of the government in it, wherein they are able to take up a decision, and every industry is able to formulate a type of intervention, which can take care of the people who are working for them. The people factor has to be recognized, because they can't suffer if people are unskilled and they have to work on those days. So how they get the money? So this has to be an integral part of it, where people factor cannot be excluded, and they should be included in it, so that they have the particular salary or the money which is going around. So a model should be there for an industry. An industry can chart out or intervene in a own way to put up a model wherein for those 11 days everything will be taken care of, and you can think green. Okay, so
Exactly.
in that way, what will happen? There will be an inclusive culture also, and we can work towards a proper global aim, whatever the aim is going to be. Okay, we are thinking about restoration, we are thinking about climate crisis, or whatever be the thing. But at that point of time, there should not be a problem that they are not working, they are not having food. So these sort of things can make it difficult. So I feel that there should be a modeling done at different
So
levels and different sectors.
I will add my
Yes,
point here. The what Kanchan just brought a minute back. See, during lockdown, COVID lockdown, it was unplanned lockdown. Unfortunately, we
yes,
had to do it in emergency. So a lot of things were not prepared. But now, whenever we will do all this, we are actually deciding the date 1st May to 11th May every year. So once we know it is part of our lifestyle practice, the way we do all other holidays in our life, it's easier for us to follow the regime that we know. Okay, fine, but during this day to during it's going to be locked. So either you plan your holidays, either you plan your any other action you may have, but relax. It's not only relax for yourself; it's relax for the entire planet. Or human relaxation is also very important, because the way mental health and all these issues which we are facing at this moment because of stressful life we live, we have to get out of that stressful life. We have to give it a break. So this break is also important, where everybody is on break. Usually what happens, maybe your country or your area is on break right now, but other country or other counterpart of yours are working. So mentally you're not at the peace. Mentally you're still at the work, because you know you have to, you're actually responsible because somebody else is working at the same time. You're on a holiday, but you get mails at times. You get calls at times. It's
I
not
do
that you're on a
agree.
full holiday.
Yeah,
Having
exactly,
said that,
Zunaid. Yeah,
here,
very nice. Exactly. I do agree with Kanchan, because she said very good thing that we need to make a strategic model to implement or at this these things at the governance level, local governance. So we need our movement to expand or to put in front of the governance, and then hopefully I'm sure, because everybody I do agree that everybody may they just want to give their contribution to restore the planet, to restore the environment, to restore the so. And the second thing I do agree with Zunaid, because it is the dates are mentioned. Before the dates was unplanned lockdown was there, then we have seen this. Now the dates are already mentioned, and 1st May to 11th May. So I hope everyone, and I'm sure that restoration process may also feel that now our holidays is supposed to come. So it will restore automatically, and hopefully everybody would like to enjoy. And once it will recommend by this academia plus industrial plus all the platform, surely it will come into the governance. I am sure.
So Rizwan,
I am
I wanted to add one more answer to this, because most of the people are worried that how those 11 days will be paid off. Who will
yeah.
pay the losses of money for those 11 days? So the way we were coming up with the model, the previous 11 months of your life, where you have a
Exactly.
Saturday, Sunday off,
Mhm.
every day now you have to give, every month you have to give one day back to your company if you're working somewhere. So there's a third Saturday will become a working Saturday henceforth. The moment any company or any government organization or any country who starts adapting these practices for their future, so then on, at least one Saturday, one third Saturday or a second Saturday, usually third Saturday we thought of, will
Yeah.
give a kind of a working Saturday for you. So you've given your 11 days back to your company to
Company.
take this holiday. So usually it is not pinching. And for the unorganized sector, there are certain things government can do, certain things the companies who are doing. See, the way we have a provident fund in India, similarly they have a multiple other sources in the, different parts of world to take care of the unorganized working class people also. It's not that it's not there. That needs to be just restructured. Let's tweak a little to take care of those 11 days for their life. And as I said, if you plan it well, it's not impossible task. That's number one. Number two, what beyond 11 days? Do we, what practices we need to do? So when we are also talking about that, multiple other things which we have to do on our daily life, which doesn't mean that you have to go and do something, because it's not possible. We all are working people. But in a working life, what small practices which every individual can add? That's where it's very important. It has to be like a movement where everybody is part of this movement. It's not about, oh, sir, government will do this. This is not my job. Now it is all our job.
Our job,
We
exactly.
750 crore people of this planet has to take this responsibility in our head. And now we may must push the government to act certain way. We may
Exactly.
push the corporates to go certain way. We can always 10 people in one street corner sometime doing something, oh, save the planet, or maybe don't use the fossil fuel, do this. That will not happen. Now it has
See,
to be collective effort. It has to be collective effort.
even
That's what we are trying to
Zunaid,
bring through this
yeah.
movement. Sir, say something. You're saying something.
No, no. Just I just want to add here one thing that you said very right thing, and even it is under the CSR, corporate social responsibility, that they need to restore the planet in terms of their 5% of the budgeting, whatever the budget they do have of their company. So it is the social responsibility, and it is implementing that. But we need to see that really it works. If it will become a kind of environmental law, then definitely we need to see that the companies and the corporate world are working
Yes,
on that
yes.
aspect. That's what I
So,
want.
see, it needs
Kanchan,
little strict laws where the government will come and play. For those strict
exactly.
laws, we will need government's intervention also. Without
Yeah,
government, we can't do it. But at least
exactly.
the moment more people are part of this process, there'll always be pressure from the public to the government. There'll be pressure from the public to the corporates. They all will start falling in place. That's the way we have to go. So we're not against the government. We want to work with government. We
Work
want
with
to
the
work
government.
with every possible stakeholder of this company. We are not against each other. Nobody is against each other. We have to work together. But maybe for the pressure point, sometimes if you have to do that, you may have to do that. That's our basic idea. Kanchan, closing line from you, please.
Okay, this is what I felt was that after hearing all these things, I feel it is, we cannot just say that it's the government who has to take the first step. Yes, maybe the first step, but yes, all the houses, all the sectors are equally responsible. They have to come together. And besides, there are this multidisciplinary, all the people have to come together. We cannot leave anyone aside. And we need to know their views also. And maybe so that we can go across this, as my board says, just transition, that phase in itself, how to take this forward, how to take, so it will require some time. We have to but we have to think about it, we have to start thinking about it in that ways, so that just transition has to be made smooth. And through this only we can achieve this goal of net zero, or our initiative, that is the 11 days for earth's healing. So we are moving in a correct phase. We want more people to join in and make this movement a global one, so that people can realize and they can initiate few activities at their home front. It's not necessary that everybody can go out and have a movement of its own, but yes, small initiatives can be taken at home, how you can save something or how you can be a part of it. So even the children and youth, maybe 100% they are there. They are the frontliners now, and they should be also included. Maybe we are planning to have a session with the youth later on, so that they can also come across with their views on 11 days for Earth's healing. And then we can plan up a model how to go about it, how to approach the government. Although Zunaid has already written to everyone, but we are still planning how to move about and how to approach the corporate houses and make them move by this thought process, and help them in modeling a good structure.
Good.
So before we close, I just wanted to add one request for Dr. Rizwan. Dr.
Yes,
Saab,
sir.
you are sitting in between students, the
Yeah, yeah.
thousands of students and who are working with you. It's important that you please talk about this initiative to them and add them as the volunteers. You become the goodwill ambassador of our organization, at
I
least
I do
in
agree.
your
I do
university.
agree, Zunad. I do agree, Zunad, because you see, in the initial comments, I have already said that it has to be started from the academic world. So
Correct.
only it can be means spread very quickly and very fast. And I am thinking we do have one course here, sustainability education. So I think we have to add one unit of Arderian things in
See, if
our
university
course.
can come as a partner to do help us on something, we can do some kind of a arrangement, partnership together, where students can be that they take the serious activity partner in it. We have
Why
time
not?
and
Why
for
not? Why not? We do have NSS also here, National Social Services
we
things
can
here.
discuss all those offline. See,
Yeah,
idea
sure,
was
we can
to
discuss that.
through this,
And
the
then,
idea was to at least put this thought in your head that now
yeah, yeah,
on wherever you get chance,
yeah, yeah, sure.
you
Even we can
let's
talk
be our
again.
volunteer, our partner, our supporter, and also
Sure,
get
sure.
the
No,
other people on board on this.
yeah, no, we can means exchange our ideas and thoughts in this regard. Even we can talk again about this and how we can see a parameters. We can establish a parameters how we can check this that 11-day healing movement is really working all around the world, or is it how much the rate of spreading is really working, and how much we can see. I can give you some tips on this, that how we can monitor and how we can see this all this. This is very
Oh,
good.
perfect. Perfect. That'll be great,
Okay,
sir.
okay.
That'll be
Sure,
great.
sure.
Thank you so
Okay.
very much for
Thank you
giving your
so
time
much.
today and joining
Thank
this
you.
session.
Thank you very much.
Kanchan, you
Thank you,
always
Dr.
close the time.
Rizwan.
Please close it.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you,
Kanchan.
Rizwan, for being here
Thank
with
you.
us and sharing your perspective. It was really nice to have you here. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks.
you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much, guys. Take care.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye
Thanks.
bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Is it going?